Okay, let's take a look at passage 6. And this time I would like you to decide if it contains an argument or not. So read it over and ask yourself, is this passage trying to convince me of something? Pause the video, think about that, come back when you're ready. Okay, what do you think? I think it is. I think this is an argument, but it can be hard to see. Let's map this thing. Philosophy addresses issues of knowledge, reality, and value. Is this passage trying to convince me of that? I don't think so. I don't think that is the ultimate conclusion. So I'm going to just give that number 2. Anything that addresses issues of knowledge, reality, and value can examine worldviews as a whole. Is the passage trying to convince us of that? I don't think so. So I'll give that number 3. But I now have 2 claims, so I'm going to stop. How are 2 and 3 related to each other? Are they related, do you think, with an inference, with a plus, or separate arrows? Now, don't think that it can't be an inference just because there's no inference indicator expression. As we've seen, sometimes there can be an inference even though it's not tagged with a therefore or a because. Ask yourself, is 2 being given as a reason to believe 3? Is 3 being given as a reason to believe 2? Or are they related in some other way? So pause the video, think about that, come back when you're ready. Okay. I don't think that 2 is being given as a reason to believe 3, and I don't think that 3 is being given as a reason to believe 2, but I do think that they have a lot in common, and I think that they are probably dependent reasons. Philosophy addresses epistemology, metaphysics, value theory. Anything that addresses those 3 things can examine worldviews as a whole. And now we ask, what follows from those 2 things? So think about that. What follows when we add 2 and 3? 2 plus 3 gives us what? Think about that, pause the video, come back when you're ready. Okay, let's see. Well, what do they have in common? Philosophy addresses issues of knowledge, reality, and value. Anything that addresses issues of knowledge, reality, and value can examine worldviews as a whole. So it looks like what they have in common is addressing issues of knowledge, reality, and value. That's where they hook up. What they don't have in common is philosophy in examining worldviews as a whole, so that must be what follows from those 2 things. So philosophy can examine worldviews as a whole. Very good. Now we just need to ask, is that stated or not? Well, if it's stated, it will probably be stated next. And the process of examining one's worldview can be very therapeutic. That's not the same thing as examining worldviews as a whole. So examining worldviews as a whole, philosophy doing that, is going to be a missing subconclusion. So I'm going to put that in there as A. Now we can go on. The process of examining one's worldview can be very therapeutic. That's going to be 4. Now ask yourself, how is 4 related to the 2-3 bit? With an inference, as dependent reasons, or as independent reasons? Think for a bit, pause the video, come back when you're ready. Okay, what did you decide? It's looking to me like another dependent reason. I would add 4 to this. And what part of this, the 2-3 bit, pairs most naturally with 4? I think it would be A. Because A and 4 have a lot in common, which then should lead us to ask what follows when we add them. Well, let's think. A plus 4 gives us what? Philosophy can examine worldviews as a whole. The process of examining worldviews can be very therapeutic. Well, what do they have in common? this examining worldviews as a whole, right? So what's left over from A, philosophy? What's left over from 4, being very therapeutic? What do you get when you put them together? Philosophy can be very therapeutic. Now, is that stated? No. So that is going to be another missing conclusion, and I'll put it there. And that actually is the ultimate conclusion, because that's where the reasoning stops. So what we've seen here is an argument that doesn't have any conclusions stated. It only has one subconclusion, which is unstated, and only one ultimate conclusion, which is unstated. If you take a look at what is stated, just the premises. This is a really kind of a hot doggy way of presenting an argument. If you have really like super confidence in your argument, and if it's fairly short, and if you really trust your listener, you can just give them the premises. I wouldn't try this with more than 3 premises, frankly, but if you have an argument that you think is a lock with 3 premises, you can just give your audience the 3 premises and let them work it out. That can be a rhetorically powerful move, but only do it if your argument's really strong and you really trust your audience to be able to follow you, right? Because some people find that more natural than others. Okay, very good. Now, the next thing is this. Remember, I said that there are some times when we add 3 things together. That's what we're going to be talking about next time. So I'll see you at passage 7.